So, welcome back to the Battlefield EMS 1 Group C. We are really getting through this one now, and it's looking pretty good, but we do have the best game coming up, I feel. It's going to be the one to decide really who's going to be going forward in this one and into the first secured spot from Group C, obviously.
I don't know what you're pointing at, guys. The mics are unmuted, though.
Mics?
If that's what you're...
We'll see. We'll see what's going on here. Hopefully all is working. Maybe it is. We're not sure. Testing microphones. Maybe the thing unplugged. We're just going to give it a little second to see if everything's actually working here. Hopefully we can get some confirmation on that. I can hear myself.
I can hear myself as well.
Yeah, that does help. You know, I like hearing my own voice sometimes.
I don't like
no?
hearing your voice.
Wow, thanks, Jason. Anyway, you're... I
just threw you off.
You can just host, man.
High five to me, Jason. Bam.
So how's the hosting going? Good? You gonna host or you
No,
done?
you got this. You got this.
You done, Jason?
No, I'm not done, but you got this.
Working with Jason Kaplan, it should be like added to Never Work with Animals, Children, Jason Kaplan. It should be like the three new things.
The best of the two.
That doesn't even work. Anyway, let's look at those brackets to maybe take Jason away from the screen and shut him up for a second. It will be uMAV against MeetYourMakers coming up next. Two brilliant teams who've been battling out this entire way, meeting quite recently actually in the Go4s. So certainly a little of, not necessarily bad blood, but there's going to be a rivalry there. What are your thoughts towards this?
I don't know. I think this is probably the game that both these teams prepared for. I think they looked at the entire groups and looked at, you know, we're probably going to get to uMAV or we're going to get to MeetYourMakers. We're not really worried about the two other teams here, as we saw uMAV just completely walking over C-Play. I think this is probably going to be, like you said, the best of, that's roll back on screen, the best of the three matches that we will see tonight.
Well, let's not waste any more time. We can jump into game pretty damn quickly. Hopefully you've let the admins know that we are
I have
ready.
not, actually.
That's fantastic. I'll go and do that right now. We can jump into game, and we'll leave Jason to not do his job.
I never saw that ever as being my job. It's just kind of like a thing that we both do. So, we have a game.
Do carry on, Jason, because you seem to have a lot to say at the moment, so...
No, I'm just waiting for this game to get underway. I've been waiting for about, what, 20 minutes now? For, I think, one player. I think it was Flax. No, I think it was Flax, actually, to get in here. I think he was having computer problems.
Yeah. Hopefully everything's sorted now. But yeah, just to take you through the lineups, we obviously saw uMAV not too long ago. It's Baden, Asterix, Sneaky, Marzu, and Delarco. For MYM, it's Punch, Rule, Safe, Flax, Waffy, and Ducky Chan. So some brilliant team players there as well. Ducky Chan, certainly someone I'm looking forward to seeing again. Safe as well. He's known for that Scar H. I wonder if he is today, actually. One of the first players I really took notice of actually using that really well. So very interested to see how they're going to do this one. Zavod is one of the closest games recently. Looking back at the Go4s, they were playing against each other in an 86 ticket deficit, actually, to uMAV on the half there. MYM really spanked it, and then actually uMAV turned it around with such a big number of tickets against them. So certainly going to be a close game. Where are you guessing this is going to go, uMAV or MYM?
Honestly, I really couldn't tell you. If anything, it would just be uMAV, just because of the ability to come back from an 86-point deficit. But they're both 3-5 on this map within the EMS1 series. Both lost to some really good teams. Both have won against some really good teams. It's pretty much just about who's really shown up. And the MeetYourMakers game that they actually played earlier on against Faculty, I think they had a higher ticket advantage than we saw uMAV have. I think it was over 105. I think it was like 120 or 130, if I can remember back to the admin chat. And that's kind of, to me, saying that maybe MeetYourMakers have really shown up today. Maybe they're really prepared and are really, really motivated to be the first team to qualify from Group C. Well,
they're certainly going the right way about it. In Faculty, not an easy team to play against. Obviously, finishing higher up in the rankings than C-Play themselves. So, certainly impressive work from MeetYourMakers very early on, taking down the 12th position team. But I think we are just about ready now. Hopefully, everything is sorted out there. MYM will be starting, I believe, on the US side if they do go live off the back of this. We are seeing most of MYM actually running with the Scar H. They seem to always love that one. Ducky Chan doing the same thing. Safe should be doing it. Yeah, all of them sticking with the Scar H, quite unique to that. uMAV, however, not the same thing. Actually, Ace 52 CQB there as well in the mix. So maybe looking to destroy some of the surrounding areas from some of the cover away. I'll have to see how that one goes, if it actually comes through in this. But so looking forward to it. uMAV obviously will be on the other side, which will be the Russians. And I think if Ducky Chan plays really well on this, I think that MYM will win it. But if he doesn't get, a solid start, they might struggle a bit. But I believe we are live in game.
I want to say that I don't know. I feel like this is probably like one of the better games we're going to have of the night, but I still feel like it's going to be a stomp for some reason. I don't know. I just have this feeling within my gut right now that's leading me to believe that one of these teams is just going to be able to completely walk over the other. But either way, we're going to see uMAV actually make for a push, a 3-man push onto B here. First kill going over to Bad and onto Ducky Chan. So unfortunately for him, he is the first one to falter. But right now, B is going to be capped over, it looks like, for uMAV here. And they're also drawing a lot of MeetYourMakers out from the C area defending. Still not really even winning this duel just yet.
Yeah, I would not say uMAV are going to win this one flat out right now because they are being mowed down. The likes of Flax getting really aggressive with the respawns of Ducky Chan and Punchroll coming in. They're going to make their move. They outnumber the opponents, but they need to make sure they hold on to that C side because we are seeing the other respawns for uMAV coming in and trying to take down the one-man band that was safe for MYM, who was locking that one down, and he's done a brilliant job so far. B finally has gone MYM's way, but they need to make sure C has not been left on its own and negated. In the meantime, finally Safe does go down, but Waffy is there already with Asterix, hoping to be able to complete, not Asterix, Ducky Chan to lock this one down.
We see 4-man and MeetYourMakers actually just kind of wiped out right there, and the last man standing is Ducky, but the respawn's coming in over towards the A side, so it looks like A will be pressured, but B's being capped over in the meantime. I would imagine that C actually not going to be picked up for uMAV since we saw a lot of respawns come in from MeetYourMakers, but right now, Safe, I always call him S8F. Safe sounds a lot more like legitimate. Could actually get the cap on A and could actually flank around on C in that underpass if he's quick enough.
Yeah, but really smart play from Punchroll then, already expecting players to be coming around on the rotate. He found Delarco from uMAV. And now, to be fair, MYM in a good spot. Really nicely set up on C, maybe a little bit overly present here. So I think they just sent out Punchroll to play that mid position. And if they can retain A, they're leaving Safe here on his own, pretty much playing the lone wolf role, just making sure he's holding the push. He's going to pick up that kill quite easily. And now they can get that ticket bleed working against the opponents.
All right, so MeetYourMakers getting that AC hold pretty much. That's kind of what we've seen, at least in my opinion, kind of be the two flags to really lock down. B, it usually is BC since they're kind of the closest to each other, and it really gives you a nice opportunity to just watch down that middle lane area. But right now, they're going for the AC, and uMAV, they're trying to make they're trying to push in towards A right now, and also see at the same time, they're not really working as a team, and MeetYourMakers seem to be winning the one-on-one fights currently.
Well, they were until A started to get pushed. Flax now has to be quite careful. They're going to depend on the respawns coming from Punchroll towards the northeast side of this map, as Baden has got himself in there. C is also being contested, but right now this is going MYM's way, so they've been able to hold on to that one. They've also dealt with a threat of Baden on A, so they can pretty much have this AC hold. They look like they want to get B instead, maybe give A away depending on the respawns, and that's why they've sent Waffy and co over there, and they're going to try and get this one in hand. But it does seem as though uMAV are quite happy to hold on to this one, or at least try and hold on to this rather than going straight for that A hold.
And they have pretty much every respawn coming in over towards B, and they're getting wiped down completely. We're seeing a tri-cut come from MeetYourMakers, and Waffy going big, picking up 3 kills right there. Single-handedly holding on to that B flag, and that just causes Asterix to be the last man standing. He's trying to make a push over towards C, where there currently is no man there, but he just turns around and goes for B instead. I'm not sure if this is actually a smart move. This might be a big mistake for them, and actually cost them a lot of tickets.
Well, to be fair, it's a nice trip cap coming from MYM, so they're very happy right now. Safe is in a perfect spot, as is Punchroll, to still contain any threat on C if they have to, and while in the meantime supporting on B. So they bought a good bit of time. They got the trip cap. They got, a good chunk of tickets away from uMAV, who are now respawning in on that C side. They've got 2 players there to challenge, but it is a 2v2. We are seeing it going back and forth here. Both teams losing members. Actually, MYM falling by the wayside. They need to be careful here. Delarco, Baden, and Asterix now all involved on this side. The last man alive will be safe with those respawns coming through. And at the moment, it's a 2-to-1 hold finally in favor to uMAV, but I feel as though C is not safe yet.
Yeah, it definitely isn't. We can see the respawns coming from MeetYourMakers on this south side. No one's even over A currently, and Marsu is actually going to be the man to go check that out. They could have a tri-cap for themselves here if Baden can defend against this push coming to MeetYourMakers, but unfortunately, he does go down at C, and that will mean Marsu is the last man standing over at A. He's going to get the cap. They're going to trade that one, but they're also losing on B here, and MeetYourMakers, they just seem to have uMAV red right now, 115 to 73 tickets. MeetYourMakers looking very strong, looking very unusual compared to how they were playing back in Cup 3 and 4.
Yeah, we'll see if that really comes through here because, obviously 2 very different opponents. You look back to, Fnatic on this map, they're not probably the best. Epsilon, I'd say, are a lot better than them in that aspect, but still, you can only read so much into certain opponents. Everyone has to play different against different people, so MYM now sitting back into a more comfortable BC hold, but they have lost control of mid, so it's allowed the likes of Marzu, Baden, and Asterix to now possibly make their way towards that C site if they fancy it. Maybe not, putting enough force within this one, because, obviously MYM have kept that, and now B being the side they're all looking towards, the C side players need now to get across here to defend that B site, or at least convert on towards A.
Flax, he was pretty much single manning that B flag, and from that position, he stopped anyone flanking in towards C from this western side. And right now, MeetYourMakers, they're going to go for the cap on A here. Astrix, though, he has 1 minute support here. Trying to go for the push into this. Actually spots Flax out, gets taken down, though. And that was actually probably a huge kill coming from MeetYourMakers as they're going to maintain this 2 cap here. They have a double ticket advantage right now, 49 to 113. And uMAV, with how strong they looked in their game just prior against C-Play, are really falling by the wayside here. They're getting walked over, and it seems like their aim just kind of seems to have fallen off, because right now you look at MeetYourMakers, 10-9 for Ducky Chan, 12-6 for Waffy, 8-6 for Punchroll, and even 5-4 for Safe. On the other side, no one really has a positive KDA.
Yeah, but they're not losing out drastically. They're winning, they're breaking down on C, but they're not being able to hold anything. I feel that the setup coming out from MYM is perfect. They can really rotate away from this. They aren't, having an easy time taking these sites away from the opponents. Obviously, MYM not being able to take over that B side just yet. Obviously, waiting on those respawns after Marzu did eventually go down. But, it's locking down C is such an important factor. And the teamwork, the crossfires coming from MYM are just vastly superior. And it's working perfectly. No matter where they put the vast majority of their team, they're still able to help out the players who have, the minimum amount. So immediately, Flax knew that C was the side being hit. He's making his way straight across, making sure he's clearing it out, helping his team, because Wafi is in trouble, and they are in a 3v2 here, so the respawns will probably be coming back in onto Flax or Safe, and now we see them trying to clean house.
And we do see Flax fortunately does go down right there, and that is going to mean C will be capped over for uMAV. Not sure for how much longer, since Safe is still alive, still getting the respawns on top of them. They're going to start to push in here, but 95-32 ticket leads so far. Actually, they do get flanked around the backside, so they do get pretty much completely wiped out from that, and they're getting respawns out towards that northwestern side, while Baden is still camping over towards that A flag. But this is the crucial point. Can uMAV hold on? Can they start to keep this 2 flag cap? Can they get the ticket bleed back in their favor? Because going into potentially the second half with a 80 ticket deficit is not what you want to see.
I think that MYM are waiting for a setup here. Flax is going to try and draw the attention towards A, whereas Punchroll did not get taken down on C, and now we're seeing MYM pushing onto that C side. That was perfectly executed from those guys. It wasn't a complete wipe. Punchroll was alive, so they'll get back this 2-1 if they get the respawns on Punchroll really damn quickly. He needs to play a little bit safer than he is. He's trying to hold these guys back as long as possible, and there come the respawns. So Punchroll has done the job for now, at least. He's kind of made the opponents question where they were. That one player respawning to the north was literally to keep the attention away of uMAV, from that C site for a split second. They're going to reclaim it for now, and we're going to have to now see MYM go for a full adaption.
And you're going to see a tri-cat come in as well off of this for uMAV. Definitely needed right now, actually. Well, I say that, they're actually starting to lose out on A here, and they haven't capped to B over, but it looks like MeetYourMakers actually going to cap over to B, cap over A as well at the same time, and they're going to get the 2-1 hold for themselves. So the last man standing is Astrix, and he's going to get some respawns on top of him, but he does get taken down, and right now, 57 kills to 40. That's really showing how this game has been progressing and how it shows, and also doesn't show just how damn well MeetYourMakers has been playing these crossfires, like you were saying before, and having those 2 or 3 people in that floater role to really adapt into C or B or wherever they really are need to be.
Yeah, indeed. And we are seeing MYM actually a little bit out of position. They didn't have enough people necessarily at B, I feel. They finally have 2 players now present to challenge out Delarco and Sneaky, who are there. But once again, the crossfire coming from Punchroll, they're supporting the B players, winning the one-on-one as well as they pushed out from C, allowing him now to push back in. Astrix is just belting his way back over towards these sites, trying to do some damage in the last couple of seconds, because really, uMAV are down to 10 tickets. 68 is not a gigantic lead, but it's still not ideal, to be going into the second half with such a deficit here. And MYM looking strong. They look like they've looked over what happened during the Go-4s, and they've worked this one out. So they may lose out on C, but they will be getting A and B, and that probably should be enough for them really to take this one through.
uMAV, even with those 2 tickets remaining, they're looking to take away anything they possibly can against MeetYourMakers. And right now, I mean, MYM, they see to pick up like 1 or 2 kills, and that's pretty much going to solidify this round. But they are down to 63 tickets. They are starting to slip away 1 by 1 right now. And Punchroll, it seems like he knows that one man is on top of one of these things. And there is actually currently someone up there. It's Ashley. He gets the kill onto him, and that might have just set this thing back in favor of MeetYourMakers. Obviously, he has to get the cap in, which he will be able to get if he does push forward, but they aren't going for it just yet. And then SAF finally respawned in, is going to get the cap, and that should be the end of the, well, I was going to say, should be the end of the first half, but I don't know. It's still going on. They still have that 1 ticket, and they've bled off another 20 tickets out of MeetYourMakers.
Yeah, it's certainly not over until the fat lady sings, but at the moment it does seem as though that final couple of kills coming through will be enough to seal this one. uMAV are trying to claw back anything they can. 43 tickets, 40, anything around that mark is fairly acceptable. If they win out on this B site as well, they could be in a good spot, but 2 players have just gone down. No more respawns really available. No one really to revive either. It's a matter of time now. MYM, however, are losing out on tickets. They were not as clean cut in the last couple of seconds. They let this one slip away from them. They had a good starting lead. They're up in the 80s, down into the 60s, and now they've dropped down to 35. There we have it. 35 tickets will be the remaining factor there, but still, MYM from the start then when they were playing maybe a little bit more seriously after they let it slip a bit, were very strong. I think that they kind of underestimated uMAV towards the end then, and that's certainly something you cannot do.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head because MYM, I mean, they had an 80-ticket lead in that game, but they lost pretty much 50 of that just because they kind of got a little bit, I don't know, too cocky, or they thought they can close out those last couple of points in there. But you might got to give them credit, fought back quite well. And like I said before, on the go for, they were able to overcome, was it a 70-ticket disadvantage?
It's pretty good.
So 30 is definitely something that's not possible for them.
Yeah, it's certainly possible, but I just keep looking back to how MYM were playing. You know, I keep thinking how strong they were when they were set up. You know, and they let it slip at the end then because I feel a lack of concentration or something along those lines. They just kind of let it slip a bit. When they had those holds, when they were playing smart, they were almost flawless in the way they're playing that one out. But, you know, if they are losing concentration already, I don't know. I don't know. If they're losing concentration now, then they could be, you know, in trouble. But, you know.
Maybe they just thought they would close it out from having that big lead, and they kind of just got too careless. I don't know if it was concentration or just them being careless, but either way, they need to not let it happen again because you can't really do that when you're against a top team like uMAV, who plays second overall within the entire season. And the winner of this best of three obviously does go on to join the other four teams that are already qualified into the offline finals.
Yeah, indeed. So we are seeing these guys obviously switching around halves and sides, and we'll be getting back underway. For the US side of uMAV, they'll be starting down in the south this time, so maybe getting an easy hold on one of the harder sites, so C, and then looking for the follow-up on B. Whereas the Russian side will be MYM. They'll be getting the kind of lonely site of A that's kind of further away from the others and look for that exchange on B. So it's going to go back and forth here. I feel that, you know, maybe uMAV will get off to a better start, which is what they definitely need here. But whether or not they can hold it, very different thing.
And they're sending 3 men in towards C, and I'm going to imagine that would be 3 turning into outside on a B here. But we only have 2 out of MeetYourMakers, so it looks like they're a little bit confident, just kind of holding on for a little bit. We do see 1 man right here, I want to point out, safe, kind of just waiting for anyone to cross down this middle area. And right now, no one's going to be going for that, so kind of his position is misplaced, I want to say. And maybe he's be a little bit more help over towards B, because right now, Flax is the only man defending against this. But finally, SF does pick up a kill onto Dawnbreaker, who is that player who's just such a nuisance because he always backcaps on you. He's always ready in that position.
Yeah, I don't think Safe's position there was a mistake at all. I think he played that really well. He picked up the kill he had to and stopped anyone flanking over to A. But now they need to make sure they get B. He was waiting to almost be a respawn there. Safe now might be joining them, or he might be playing more defensive. I'm hoping he does respawn by the likes of Punchroll and Flax to support here. Finally does come in. And, you know, he generally runs with that Scar. I don't think he is right now. They're going for the close quarters combat. Maybe picking up the Ace 23 there just to really challenge these guys out. But they are holding the 2-1 for now. But they're not in a position to really lock down where uMAV are trying to attack from. So Sneaky being split to the north and Marzu to the south, they're kind of spreading a bit thin, but it doesn't matter. MYM are winning the one-on-ones, even though they're not necessarily in the best position possible.
And look where Wappy is. He's kind of playing a little bit of an anchor. He's sitting really far back at A, and he's actually playing outside right over here as he's actually watching the middle cross right now. We do have the respawns finally coming in for uMAV into the backside, but you already see MeetYourMakers are going for a response on this. Wappy coming from the backside on a C, looking for this hit here. He could catch off uMAV and pick up the kills they need to lock down the site. He does see 1, does get that, does pick up 2 right there, and he should be able to get the revive. Oh no, he actually killed from the backside here. I didn't see that man coming in, but it's just a slaughterfest between both these teams.
Yeah, but Ducky-chan stayed alive and played that smartly enough to be able to get down those 2 kills, get Flax on the revive, pick up that C site, and now he's heading straight back out to B to make sure they don't lose out on this straightaway. And this could be a trip cap coming in because A should be turned over quick enough that they aren't being able to get onto that B side just yet.
And it seems like MeetYourMakers have lost out on 1 man, unfortunately for them. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Maybe disconnected, but this tri-cap is definitely what they needed here, but they have to be able to play this off. They have to group up here. I'm not sure if Punchroll going outside like this is really a smart play because they need to just sit 4 men over towards B, over towards A, wait for that 5th man to reconnect, and then hope to, you know, hold on long enough with these points. But right now, 139, 104 is the ticket store currently. And remember, 35 is that magic number where if uMAV drop below that, that will be the first map going over to MeetYourMakers.
To be fair, MeetYourMakers, even without their 5th, are doing brilliantly well. They're still challenging them down. They're still winning the one-on-ones. They just don't have that one roaming player. So as much as, you know, we should say they're playing defensive almost, or they should be maybe a little bit more defensive in aspect, I think they were doing fine then. They lost out on C eventually to 1 man pretty much then and got wiped 3 players. But now they're in trouble because Ducky-chan is not, you know, in a position to allow for respawns. He's too dangerous. Flax took a risk, Punchrall, however, has a fantastic respawn. He might get spread out by Asterix eventually, but still, they're still fighting this one. They might get trip cap from this, but they're in a good position to pick back up on that C side if they get the respawns in on Punchrall here.
Well, let's see if they do go for those respawns. They do have one man, Ducky Chan, spawning on top of them, as well as everyone else flooding in through here. But you can see where everyone is across the map for uMAV. They don't know where the respawns are, and they think they finally have made the call. Ash is coming in for the backside, picks up 1 kill, and one thing I want to point out between both these teams that we haven't seen them do, funny enough, that we've seen a lot of other teams do, is destroy any of the walls in any of these buildings. We don't see any early engineer kits, no one destroying the walls to allow the ease of access, but they're still in a nice position in this stairwell here, able to pick up at least 1 kill and hold on to this tri-cap. And the point lead that MeetYourMakers had, unfortunately, is just kind of dwindling away.
Yeah, it certainly is, but they're still focusing on C, which I feel is probably the better option here, but obviously uMAV know that. They're well aware of it, and now that's probably why MOM is sending Flax and Safe out towards B.
I feel like if you only have 4 men, and there's a tri-cap against you, I think all 4 need to hit 1 flag together. They kind of have like a split, 2 towards B, 2 towards C, and you need to get a flag back. I mean, you can at least minimize the bleed a little bit here as we do finally have the reconnect coming in from Wafi. But right now, they have lost the lead. They're currently down about 10 tickets, and they're down a lot of morale as well. But we finally have the respawns coming in. Ducky-chan going to get in the backside towards A. We're going to see Safe maybe go on this 1v1 against Delarco. We might see that 2-cap coming back from MeetYourMakers here momentarily.
Yeah, MYM splitting up A and C, as you mentioned. They are winning those one-on-ones on C now. They have the numbers. They have the advantage. They've got A. They've got C. They are back in business. And I've got to say, uMAV now need to have made sure they made that really hurt on the tickets. They are in the lead, 92-74, but let's bear in mind, they've got a 35 ticket disadvantage. So that may come into effect later. And Delarco, however, is in a fantastic position. You might not expect these 2 players here because they're really splitting this up, and Wafi needs to play safe right now. He needs to be able to hold on to this one. He does get the revive and the respawn. Perfect play coming out. We are seeing A being saved by Punchrall, and C now looking fairly strong. They're back in the driving seat here.
That's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of interesting to see. I mean, we had this happen yesterday with Exacquio, where they lost 1 man, and yet they were able to really not worry about the other team and able to come back. And I don't know, if you're in uMAV shoes and you have that tri-cap for so long, they just shouldn't be able to lose out on it that quickly. And right now, you see MeetYourMakers are going to control A. We're seeing them actually lose out on C here, but they had 2 men working out towards B right now, and they did even pick up the kill on a sneaky, so that might have opened this up here, but they're being very cautious because they know there's a couple more men here around the corner. Yeah,
but this was, I feel, once again, of their bait plays almost to bring the attention out towards B of those 2 players, Flax and Ducky-chan, leaving the vast amount of respawns to come in by C on safe, which would be Punchrall and Wafi, to now take over the C site. And they've done it perfectly. They just need to win these one-on-ones now, and then they've got this in the bag pretty much. They've lost down A, but they've got a clear route now towards B.
They definitely do. I mean, there's no man there to defend against it. We do have 1 man, at least bad, and struggling to get there as quick as possible. But against the 3-man squad, the MeetYourMakers, well, and it's now turning into a 3-on-2 in favor of uMAV. So they kind of might be overcommitting, depending on whether or not they can pick up these kills. And they do pick up the 1. I think they even picked up the 2nd off of that. No, they didn't pick up the 2nd just as Flax is down here. But they're going to be in a lockdown B here. They're going to be able to maintain B and A. And like I said before, they are playing with that little bit of a 35-ticket deficit. They need to start holding on to these a little bit longer. They need to keep picking up these kills here, or they could have lost out on this first map.
Yeah, they really do. 52 tickets to 69, 35 being the magic number to uMAV. Obviously on the US side, currently holding the 2-to-1 advantage. They have left A little bit up for grabs here, and that might kind of get, turn around and bite in the arse. We are seeing these guys split apart as well. It was Punchrall and Ducky-chan mostly focusing out towards A, but now Punchrall coming back towards C to probably wait on the respawns if they need it. And we are seeing the site of A being turned over, but actually losing out on the one-on-one this time. Marzu just brute forcing his way in, but the vast amount of MYM now challenging out on B. They're going to try and make this one hurt. They should be able to get a 2-to-1 hold, but they haven't been set up yet. They've been constantly pressured by uMAV. uMAV really getting in their faces, really getting aggressive, and it's making it really hard work for the opponents now. uMAV look like they want to get that B site. Punchrall is still here, but the respawns are coming in, so B is up in the air.
They're still dueling it out on this. Sneaky's only man alive for uMAV here. He actually doesn't get the cap over. He does get taken down, so we are going to have, it looks like, MeetYourMakers lock down B and maintain it for a little bit longer, as even Marsu's committing some time down here. But you see the rest of MeetYourMakers are kind of rushing in to C. They're trying to make a play happen right now. They're trying to get some sort of flag. They realize that we're so close to being able to pull out this victory on the first map. And we're seeing Wafi pick up that nice entrance kill to open up this C flag.
Yeah, now they need to play the game of let's lock down 2 for longer than 1 second here. Obviously, C is fairly safe. B, however, is not. Flax and now Punchrall, just Punchrall, have to go pretty big. The respawn coming in of Ducky-chan pretty perfectly here. Hopefully we're able to lock this one down just a little bit longer, but they're leaving C. They're going to go for a trip cap if they can. They maybe don't feel confident enough on that B site to win this one, so they're going to hedge their bets, but they've lost out, and Delarco now has an open route towards C, completely undefended. That was possibly a big mistake on him from Safe here, because really, if B did not go MYM's way for a second, then that would have been a trip cap over towards uMAV.
And either way, it's just Delarco completely outplaying them, just realizing where they are and able to flank against that. Even running straight back, straight towards A. Realize that MeetYourMakers are going to get the respawn over there, but MeetYourMakers is going to get the 2 cap back for themselves. It's 46 tickets remaining for uMAV, and they are so close to that 35-point mark. Every kill that they pick up right now is so crucial, as you see Safe picking up 2 kills right there. And unfortunately, does get taken down for him, but MeetYourMakers is going to maintain control of A, maintain control of B here, and that final play right there might have been enough to do it. If Punchroll can hold on to this flag for a little bit, if he can defend it and just stall, they're going to pick up the win.
Yeah, indeed. And, well, Asterix has got A, but still, 36 tickets now. 35 is the magic number. That B defense was enough to seal the deal. So the first map, it does seem, and it is confirmed, to be going over towards MYM's favor. And let me just quickly highlight the scores, because they'll be playing it out. Asterix 20-16, 12-9 for Baden. Marzu as well doing really well. But at the end of the day, MYM, they weren't playing the kill game, but they were playing a brilliant flag game, even without Safe being there for a good chunk of that one. Brilliant stuff. uMAV pretty much out-fragged them quite, a drastic way if you look at their KDAs, but the way that MYM played the flag game then was perfect, and they did it in the right time. So really well played on the first map there.
I want to give them a lot of credit, too, for playing with that man down for such a long time.
Yes.
And the thing was, with that man down, they didn't get a single flag cap.
Yeah.
Because they were tri-cap the entire time. And then with him coming back in, there seemed to be like a little bit of a spark in the team. They're able to hold on. I mean, if we think about it, it was really close to being over for them since they only had few tickets left, but they were able to hold on long enough. That's all that's really going to matter. But we're going to be going into Dawnbreaker now, and that's where we saw uMAV play so damn well on.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a 105 ticket lead on this map when they played against C-Play earlier on. And between both these teams, uMAV 5 for 7, or I guess you could technically say 6 for 8, and MeetYourMakers are 2 for 3.
Yeah, but I do want to kind of look into who MYM played on this one, because I think there's a lot of teams who are really strong on Dawnbreaker. Dignitas, they beat Dignitas, which is fairly impressive. Going off the back of that, they actually lost to ESC, so that's kind of surprising. I wouldn't have thought that would have gone that way. That was Cup, yes,
Yeah.
Cup 3. That's a real surprise there. ESC, very talented, do not get me wrong, but I would have thought MYM would be a little bit stronger on this.
I think that's when they were starting to kind of slip. I remember Cup 3 and 4, ESC kind of like surprised us, or Dauber and I, when we were casting that, actually getting through and advancing into the semifinals. But I don't know. I mean, MeetYourMakers, they're definitely looking like what they appeared to be in Cup 1 and 2. They're definitely looking back to their former glory. But can they maintain it? I mean, that was a little bit sketchy in that last one, and hopefully it doesn't really affect them too much.
We'll have to see, because normally it's uMAV in the driving seat.
Yeah.
They're always the ones kind of walking away, even if they have the deficit in the first half. Aside from finals, obviously, when they seem to fail parlously. But
The kryptonite first place.
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, we'll have to see how they can do on this one, really turning things on hopefully towards the end there and actually sorting themselves out a bit, because MYM looked good then. When they played the flag game, they were pretty on point. So definitely looking forward to seeing how this one pans out. I think the teams are just getting to the service. We can jump in on that as soon as you guys, as soon as we're ready, pretty much, or as soon as possible, so we can take you through what we might be seeing here, and we can kind of highlight some of the guns these guys have been running with as well, because obviously I feel as though it's quite an important factor. I'm going to assume the Scar H will be a huge factor in this one. Probably the most played weapon. It does look like it, to be fair. Looking through it, Baden, Ducky-chan, Marzu, Sneaky. I'm going to look for someone who doesn't have it, and at the moment, they all have it. Yeah, so we were kind of discussing this earlier, and some people, they agree, but they don't. They feel that, maybe with the angle grip on the Ace 23, you can still hit those long-range shots. I just feel the damage drop-off of, between 18 and 25 to the Scar is enough to make a big difference, obviously, because you get the angle grip or the ergo grip, depending on what they really fancy. But most, if they have the Sky H, I feel prefer the angle grip, just really hammering home the importance of those first 2 shots, just really railing those. And I think that is the most common thing we are seeing here, angle grip. We are seeing the ergo grip for Marzu with the muzzle brake, so that's a kind of interesting choice there. I'm not too sure, but then again, Marzu is one of the best players at the moment, aim-wise, so who am I to really judge?
What's also really worrying for me is the fact that uMAV, when they played against C-Play, they didn't run that many scars. They had 1 or 2 here or there, but C-Play were the ones that really brought that into play. And MeetYourMakers, they're a very strong team with scars. I think they all were using it, if I'm not mistaken, on Zavod, the map we just played. Yeah. But I feel like they're the stronger Scar H team than uMAV, and that kind of really worries me.
See, this is what kind of confuses me. All right, so the ergo grip basically, what Marzu's running with, allows people to be more accurate on the move, right? So it reduces the accuracy penalty while moving. So you can pretty much make it quite awkward in a one-on-one. You're kind of playing maybe a little bit more for the close range, I'd say. But it's kind of, I don't know, I don't feel as though the Scar H necessarily backs that up. Maybe he's trying to hedge his bets a bit there. You know, he can play long range with the gun that's more maybe damaging on that sort of distance, and then compensate close range that he can still be a little bit more, you know, can move a little bit easier. But still, interesting choice.
Yeah. It's nice to see what each player individually prefers and likes to use. And
Yes.
I'm glad that we're actually seeing a little bit more of a difference than just the ace, because that was all everyone played in Cup 1 and before that. But hopefully, we will have MeetYourMakers getting here momentarily, get all their problems sorted out. They don't want to have that drop come in again and almost cost them an entire map, because they are currently up 1-0 here. And the winner of this best of 3 will be qualified into the offline finals with Pyrogen, with ESC, with Fnatic, with Dignitas. A lot of big names up there. And you obviously don't want to have to worry about, you know, getting knocked into the loser's bracket and having to win that next match to stay in this.
Yeah, definitely. So that's certainly going to be in their minds. I'm going to take you through the other kind of factors of what they're running with. Generally, the angle grip and the muzzle brake, both pretty much to do with accuracy here. So, you know, the muzzle brake will reduce the recoil of a weapon at the expense of lowering the accuracy. But then the angle grip, I always feel kind of counteracts it. If we can press F3, I think it is, so we can see if these guys... It's Marzu. He's the one guy who's not doing it, but he has at least got the muzzle brake, but he's on with the ergo grip. Everyone else seems to have the angle and the muzzle brake on there. Or actually just a standard barrel, so interesting. Not going for the muzzle brake on that. But he's got the Ace-52, so he's probably just happy to be a little bit more close range. I
just like to show you all the ones that apparently are running with what you're talking
Chan, not bothering.
for some reason.
Yeah, but the angle grip is there, which is the important factor that literally the first shot basically has no recoil. In my eyes, it's really, really low, as is the second. So if you can land those first 2 shots back to back, you're pretty much golden.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to see these guys actually running with that, and it's I'm curious to see if it actually changes up. And we've seen a couple of people, you know, toying with the idea of a sniper as well, which is kind of interesting.
He hasn't. He's only hit 1 shot though, and it wasn't even a kill. I think that kind of shows you how viable snipers are right now for Battlefield 4 and domination. But hopefully, I don't know. I mean, I was not really expecting this long of a break between each map. I feel like both teams really just wanted to get over with it. MeetYourMakers actually moving over to Charlie's squad for some reason. Maybe they like Charlie better? I don't know.
Charlie gives you a 0.5% accuracy boost. It's one of those secret things like in Call of Duty, the red tiger camo, give more damage.
I feel like you're trolling me right now.
I do know, to be fair, there's a lot of players who have these weird superstitions about stuff like, we have to be in Bravo, or we have to be in Charlie, and I have to have this very specific camo, so I don't have that, I will play really badly.
I mean, you could argue it's like peripherals for them. Like, for instance, for me, you know, for FPS games, I cannot play with the gun in the right hand. I have to play with the gun in the left hand.
There are also small factors to that in CS especially because... I can't be asked to explain this because it's really sad and nerdy, but you basically give yourself more room on the screen that your eyes will be generally looking at. When you have it in the right hand, you're covering more of what your dominant eye will be seeing, which is what they kind of sometimes do.
Sounds about right.
It's quite sad though. But yeah, but it's all down to preference. You know, at the end of the day, Forrest, 0 cares given. And he's better than all of us.
I'm not arguing with that at all. That's very true.
Indeed.
I think Get Right might have something to say about that, though, if we bring him into this conversation. But obviously, that's a different game
but to
here.
be fair, there was a recent post saying Get Right was a fan, I believe, of like, is it Dexter? Who's the one from Lemon Dogs who was going over to NA from League?
I don't know. League of what?
Yeah,
it's Dexter.
Yeah, basically, I think Dexter was like, Get Right, like tweeted him like, oh, so when are you going over to the US? And he replied tomorrow. And then On Gamers wrote this huge article about fan asks Dexter when he's leaving. And Get Right was just like, fan, ... Poor guy, but I think we are just about ready to get underway in this one. So MYM will be on the US side, starting more towards the north, gifted that C point, whereas uMAV will be in the south as the Chinese team. And they're not going for the usual start here, actually, uMAV. Bit of a different approach.
And they did go for the boost up, but they're not going straight into B here. They're actually going for a push on a C, which is really interesting. And that should allow MeetYourMakers to pick up this flag on a B. I mean, obviously, they haven't capped over C just yet, but you're seeing them scramble. They're sending SIF back here to defend against us. They actually get the kills they need. They're going to lock that down. And they're going to have a 2-cap here, which is a really unusual considering how uMAV kind of have that boost advantage to start off with.
Yeah, and MYM, fantastic start from them, really controlling the unorthodox threat that did come out then, so really enjoying that. So Safe will be now get himself set up. There are 2 players, Baden and Marzu, now joined by Asterix, ready to really cause some trouble within there, but they're still locked down to one side, so the more tickets that, you know, MYM don't lose, the better this looks. They're sitting at 148 to 137, nothing huge yet, and we are seeing a slight bit of attention drawn towards C coming out from uMAV, and they are winning this one-on-one. Safe has gone down, as is Flax. C is now open for the taking. Maybe Punchroll will have to come and be more defensive, because they could get a trip cap off the back of this, but it looks like Punchroll is actually going to be going for the flat-out challenge towards the A side. He's got the respawns for it. This could spell trouble. It could be a 2-1 to the more favorable sides here now.
I'm really confused right now. I feel like...
My brain.
I feel like Dawnbreaker isn't playing on his account because right now he's not doing the flank at A or C nonstop throughout the entire game. It's really unusual. That's typically what he likes to do. And right now, uMAV going to be going for the control back on A. They're going to get the kill they needed onto Punchroll, and that should open up A to be taken back for them. But they're going to appear in with Wappy here over towards the balcony. He's going to be able to hold on to that B for quite a while.
Hey, well, as soon as you say that, dead. It's literally Caster's curse. Yeah, indeed. You can't do anything about it. But MYM, you know, they've been by A for a long time. Finally now switching that one over. They still did have B, but it looks like uMAV are going to be taking that into their hands. But, you know, finally MYM into the ideal position on A, maybe work their way down the street. But we've seen that uMAV quite like to play this building game, not actually playing out on the road that much, and actually just staying within the corridors, in the, you know, in the small kind of exchanges. And they generally do very well of it. You know, obviously Marzu, Delarco, and Baden now looking for a way back through towards A. They've got Asterix holding down the outside section towards B if they need a respawn player. But look at that random spawn coming in for Punchroll. He's in the perfect spot to turn over C, and they're still holding on towards A. This is a nice position for MYM if they don't get overpowered by the likes of Baden and, I believe, Delarco now.
Yeah, it's always Delarco. You can always pretty much guarantee it. But right now we had Flax actually still over towards A. Looks like they might give this up here just to go for a transition on a B. But if Ducky can win this exchange, he actually does win that 1v1. That should open up B, and that should open up a 2-cap coming back in for MeetYourMakers, but in a more favorable position than this AC hold. And right now, actually, A still being held on to by Wappy. This is going to be a tri-cap here momentarily. And Wappy, he's actually picking these kills up left and right. He's holding on to A, and this is going to be huge because you see the rest of uMAV rush towards C to stop this tri-cap from happening. Punchroll, he's already here. If he can defend against this is going to be major. This
is huge play. 2-1 and 3 being held. Punchroll finally goes down, but that's a long time without a flag now. And we are seeing the impact of that obviously now reflected in the scoreboard. uMAV now down to 104 tickets, and they're not winning the one-on-ones as cleanly as they were previously, which can be a real fault here because A and B are staying in the hands of MYM. And well, uMAV have to try and work out something from that C point, as they do have 4 players, now 5 all spawned in, looking for a way through. They've found Flax, and they're looking to make their way up that main street on the right side and hopefully win these one-on-ones, but Safe is holding strong. He's now being pressured. He goes down, allowing Marzu to come through, but the crossfire with Punchroll comes into effect, and they hold on to A and B once again.
And this is what we saw MeetYourMakers do so well against uMAV on Zavod when they had all 5 men there, is they were just mowing them down quite a bit, and as you can guess, Delarco. Gonna always be going around this A flank, gonna be always capping this in. I feel like if you watch back the VODs of any of the uMAV's games on Dawnbreaker, this always happens, and I feel like, you know, the team should know about this and should have one man there to stop it. And right now, MeetYourMakers are gonna get taken advantage of. They're gonna lose that on A, but they should be able to cap C here momentarily.
Yeah, and Waffy is holding back on respawning in at the moment, I think, unless he dropped. No, he is holding back to see whether the side that was needed most. They did still have 2 players present. Obviously pushed up, was Safe and one other, but they weren't winning the one-on-one, so he now probably spawned in with a more defensive side, you know, back in with Punchroll to try and lock down C. They still have the 2-1, and that's really starting to hurt the uMAV side. Delarco has been doing those splits perfectly, but he's not been able to hold on to it. But this is finally what uMAV need. They've got a good presence on the catwalk. They can challenge down the likes of Punchroll and hopefully get some control now back over this C site.
And you see Asterix, he's just... I don't know, he's just hiding back here. He's trying to lure a lot of people over there, a lot of attention. He's going to start pushing up for that balcony, like you're saying. Gets the kill into Punchroll. Actually gets taken out by Ducky Chan either way, so they're going to still maintain control of C. But in the meantime, Marcy going for a push on a B. Flax, I think he did pick up the kill, or is looking for the kill here. He actually does pick it up, and that should give B back over, or at least maintain B over for MeetYourMakers.
And they're going to get A.
Delarco, again. He's just always leading his team for these pushes.
Yeah, but MYM, you know, the thing that I liked was Safe and Punchroll already push up quite aggressively in the buildings. And then as soon as they saw C was the main focus, went, okay, all right, we're going to assume you guys overextend here and overly put players present. we'll just take A while you guys are nowhere to be found. And look at that, Ducky-chan straight on the C site. uMAV are being picked up, dropped down, and thrown around. Mazu finally wins a one-on-one there, breaking through down the street. He has got the cover from Sneaky from that catwalk, and B might be going back in, you know, a bit of a more sure, favored sided hands of uMAV if they can actually lock this one down for longer than a couple of seconds. Mazu now trying to solo up towards A in a 1v3, probably not the best idea. The rest of his side are now focusing down towards C.
And he's playing a little bit interesting role, kind of like Dawnbreaker, it seems a little bit, but you see, you know, uMAV, they're on this northwest side of the map. They're just kind of stuck there right now across the board. But we're going to see a try cut come in. Wappy just sneaking into B. He's looking for this cap. There's a man behind him. He's actually going to get taken down, but it still has neutralized it. And they have a giant lead, 103 to 47 tickets. And this developed, obviously, on the last map when they actually, unfortunately, lost out on Safe. And hopefully stay connected this time, because if they go into a lead with, you know, 90 or 80 plus tickets, that's going to be very hard for uMAV to come back from.
Yeah, uMAV seemed like a complete shell of what we saw previously. They are going to pick up the B and C site, but I can imagine that maybe MYM, depending on the random spawn around the back of C, or they're going to go for a push onto B. I'm not, you know, they have 5 players up. I guess they don't need to depend on it, and they are winning those one-on-ones, taking down Delarco. The fire from the balcony being negated pretty much has been really not as, you know, poignant as before. We're seeing teams adapt around it. They're not just giving away these kills. So Punchroll there, as we just saw, pretty much avoiding all of that. He doesn't even need to look over it. Now at this point, they've got enough time to split down towards C if they want to, while uMAV try and retake that B site with only 35 tickets left.
Safe was just trying to stall a little bit right there, and we do see Marcia pick up that kill. He's actually rushing straight into this A site. This actually might catch MeetYourMakers off guard. Flax gonna be rotating back around. Realizes something's going down at A. He's trying to rush in there as fast as possible, and he's gonna turn this corner. And he's not gonna see anyone until Darko finally does peek around, who gets the kill. And that will be uMAV picking up A here and actually get a try-cap for themselves. MeetYourMakers have been wiped out. They need to get something back here, and they are struggling. Yeah,
they've not got the ideal spawns either. Safe, Wafi, and Flax going for a bit of a 2-2 split down towards B, 2 towards A. They could win out on this A site if they play this one correctly. Flax does manage to find Delarco with Ducky-chan in tow, but still, Mazu is waiting, and Mazu's been a real key player, using that Scar H, using, you know, everything towards that gun perfectly. Let's see if he can win the one-on-one close range. No, he can't. Flax will break through, and that's A going to be going over to back towards MYM, and they've got a good setup to possibly take B if Punchroll can stay alive, and he can't.
That commentator's curse, I swear. We can only use it for like negative things. We can't use it for positive. It's like, well, that guy's I'm definitely not going to win the lotto tomorrow. Yeah, of course you don't. But right now, Ducky-chan is actually getting the backside of Darko, gets the kill onto him, and that might potentially open up control of B. But look what Safe's doing. He's actually going around the long side of this. But you see there's already one man there waiting for it. He's already here to stop this from happening. I guess he expects it to be going down. And will Safe be able to work his way in here? There's a man right to his right. He's going to run straight past him into C, and he should be getting killed here in just a second. There it is.
Oh, beautiful play from Bad, and then winning out on that 2v1, and that was just perfectly played. He knew what those guys were going to be up against. And look how close the tickets are now getting. 51 to 30, that is a big difference to what we saw not too long ago. MYM have been thrown out of their safety zone. They're not in their comfort area. Flax is just about breaking through towards mid. Going to get in some revives there, hopefully pick up a good couple of his teammates. Actually not going for the full revives here. They're going to go for the respawns. That's kind of interesting. Curious to see how that one will come into effect. Maybe expecting to get this B push and maybe get some close respawns. Not going to happen because, you know, uMAV are really close to this site. They've stopped playing just the catwalk game. They're happy to get involved. But now nades being a huge factor in this could start making it a little bit costly, but still they have, you know, a good chance to bring this one back all even. They're not far away from each other now.
I'm so confused at what happened that caused all this, because MeetYourMakers, they had such a huge lead. They had 100 tickets to 30, or maybe it was even 40 right there, but they have lost 70 ever since then to the 20 that uMAV have currently gone down, and it seems to be uMAV just kind of turned it on. They started picking up the kills. They got the 2 cap that they needed. They're able to maintain it for quite a while here as they're going to be able to lock down B as well as they're losing out on C at the same time. But they already do have Delarco pushing over towards A here, and this might be the final push because MeetYourMakers have 3 men there to stop this A cap from happening. But they aren't pushing just yet. They're actually taking their time, and they're getting taken down left, right.
Wow.
Delarco finally does die, but not before taking it 2 with him.
Yeah, and you know, the respawns coming through for uMAV are perfect. That does not leave MYM to be able to pick that up. You know, Ducky-chan luckily spotted out the B would probably be the lightest side. They have C. Flax now needs to lock this one down against possibly 2 players. B is just about going in their way. But this is a very close game. Now, kills will be a huge factor here. Safe immediately splitting around towards A because they do not expect to hold B. And he's played that really nicely there. A is open for the taking if he does decide to go for this now. We're seeing C being held onto by Flax, and that is making MYM's tickets, uMAV's tickets get extremely low. 15 tickets now, and we are seeing A quite safely going over to MYM's favor. And now we are seeing C still being held down.
Flax, if he could just stay alive, he does get taken down. C will be traded over for uMAV here. But we see that squad out of Safe as well as Ducky-chan come from the side for a push on a B. But right now, it's very possible that uMAV actually could come back from that 60-point deficit and actually take this first half. Obviously not with a giant score, but a win is going to be a win for them in their books.
Yeah, but look at uMAV. They are in trouble now. MYM are in the better positions on that B side. They've got it locked down 2-1. There's very little that uMAV can do to break through here. They can rarely respawn now. They're down to 8 tickets, make it 6, and every single second this goes on, it's not looking good. 2 kills coming in against them. Any respawn could cost them this game now. Pretty much just one man of Baden standing. He's going to allow for 1 respawn, but that ticket is going to go away. 17 remaining. It's not a massive lead, but it's still a slight one.
And really kind of unexpected in my eyes, just considering how far ahead MeetYourMakers were. But all it took was just that one little bit of a slip-up. Same thing happened on Zavod, and uMAV just completely took advantage of that, and that's why they are the #2 team currently within the, the rankings at the moment. And I mean, uMAV, they're not out of it. 17 tickets.
Oh, that's nothing.
That's nothing on Dawnbreaker.
No. But then again, MYM starts slipping at the end. But if they get any sort of lead, then they're generally fine. But it's kind of confusing. It's like, at the start, MYM are normally stupidly strong. They get this 2-1 hold, and they look
that something happens.
really dominant. And then maybe they lose a little bit of the concentration, or something along those lines goes not wrong, but they kind of let it slip a little bit. And then it starts to cost them towards late game. That's where we've seen these games get a little bit closer. It's kind of strange.
Maybe it's the other team adapting to their strategy.
It could be.
I don't know. I feel like Dawnbreaker was just continually doing what he does best, just running around, getting the back cap over and over. Maybe it was just, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's a lot of different factors that goes into what caused MeetYourMakers to lose that giant lead. But right now, they have to think, we can be one half away from getting into the offline finals. We could be done for the night if we can pull this one off. And that might give them that little bit of energy they need to really spark up here. And if we do see uMAV or even MeetYourMakers get knocked down to the bottom side of the losers bracket, obviously one will be, they already stomped the opponents that were down there.
Yeah, these two teams probably feeling quite confident in that aspect, but you never know, you know what I mean? It's risky. If you look at ESC's route yesterday, you can never take too much into effect, They lost out in the first game, I believe, against their opponents.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they came back in the final game that really mattered. So I don't think, I don't think they can take too much for granted, but the way they played out that first game, certainly different to yesterday's. But no matter which way this goes, both teams truly deserve this spot the way they've been playing today.
I just thought of something when you mentioned ESC, because they lost to Azaquio in the first game. Then they came back to beat against Authority, and then to beat the team that beat them to start off the day, Azaquio again. And that was very well played by them. But either way, we are underway with the second half, and we're going to see MeetYourMakers go for that 4-man push onto this B flag. And let's see if they can hold on to this one. Let's see if they can lock it down, because Ducky-chan, he's leading the charge here. He's getting naded from all different directions down to 40 HP. And he's going to actually take it out completely here. And we're going to see uMAV with a nice flank from Dalarko. Who else is it going to be? Picking up those 2 kills, opening up this B to be taken back for uMAV, and potentially always A.
That was beautiful stuff. Marzu, immediately got naded out from that B site. He had to play more passively, allowing Dalarko to split through mid, just get those kills. And Dalarko's not stopping. He's carrying on the work towards the A side. He's already taken down one. Going to drop out the spam nade. Hopefully eliminate anyone camping in that corner. But they can be happy here. 2-1 hold. This is good.
He's flanking around 2 men of MeetYourMakers, and he's already been able to pull that off towards B. I wonder if he's actually going to notice them there and actually get right behind him. Looks like he will be going up through this little bit of a staircase. He's going to see 2 of them. Picks up the kill on the punch roll. And right now, Dalarko, he is a one-man squad. He's 5-0 as he finally gets taken down by Flax, but not before getting the work in.
Perfect start from that man. Pretty much gifting this 2-1 hold to his team for at least the start now. This is where MYM need to pull themselves back together. They've got a good chance to get this B site in their hands. There's no players really that able to contest. If Punchroll can get that crossfire down, I'm not sure if he's looking the right way. Finally, Dalarko will fall again, and we will be seeing at least a 2-1, maybe a trip cap coming in, because look at Safe immediately across towards that C site. He does go down. It's been neutralized, not capped, and now Flax needs to back up, get sorted, get safe, and be able to lock down this AB hold.
Well, just that distraction, though, that Safe pulled off towards C, it gave MeetYourMakers the ability to set up like this, set up in this line across the map, have all 5 men here to defend against it, but we do have Asterix, the man, to push straight into B. Does eventually get taken down. But MeetYourMakers, definitely a stronghold of them. They're going to get B back here momentarily, and they're going to start building up that lead that they seem to always do when these halves begin.
Yeah, they may be a little bit slow to the taking because of Delarco pretty much, but now we are seeing them holding that 2-1. They need to be able to control this streak because Delarco's pushing across Wafi, completely ignoring him, going for the retake round the backside. That is an interesting bit of play, actually. He might have just costed them B for a touch and maybe A. Two players slipping away. He finally gets one kill, but I'm not sure if it's worth it because they're not straight away on that C point and they are losing out on A. This could spell trouble here for MYM.
And it's Delarco. He's got a capital A in his name, and he's definitely making it work for him. I mean, he's always at that A flag. He's always running around. He's always being that nuisance for MeetYourMakers. And you see Ducky Chan and Flax are taking it so slow in a C where there's actually no one there to defend against it. They will finally be able to maintain C back. And Punch, he's pushed up very aggressively here over towards B, looking for the kill on the Asterix. Isn't able to pull this off. He does get the kill, and that should lock down B for just a little bit longer now for MeetYourMakers, and it will actually give them the lead yet again.
Yeah, and let's bear in mind, obviously, uMAV playing with a 17-ticket deficit, so at the moment they're basically around, 100 or 99. And now every single ticket that's obviously going in MYM's favor, or at least staying within MYM's favor, is a big chunk away from them. That's when it starts getting mentally worrying because they know they're already at a disadvantage. And we are seeing the likes of Safe just pushing up, getting prepared to make a little bit of a counterplay. And he's actually got around 3 of them here, perfectly snuck through. The likes of Marzu and Delarco completely unaware, and actually he's not going for the flag, he's going for the kill. And that might be the ideal thing to do here because Delarco is capping over that B point completely unnoticed, just tucking himself down. We're seeing 3 players now backing away here, or at least trying to find him. They're just literally hunting area. Finally, Marzu will find him, and B will go back over. But that was a lovely play going out from that man.
He just had to switch to the defib kit to get the kill on Delarco right there. I'm glad I tuned into him right before he pulled that one off, but he saw him there. He's like, this is going to be fun. So he gets the kill, maintains control of B yet again here, and MeetYourMakers still looking very strong. Even Flex pushed up towards A. They're going to get the cap on A. They might get the trip cap for just a little bit, here. And you see the rest of MeetYourMakers. They're pushing towards C right away. They realize this is happening, and they might be able to pull his tri-cap off for a long time. Yeah,
this is unbelievable play coming from these guys. Punchroll and Safe being the 2 players to fall back here, picking up at least the player on the side of Asterix, finding Batten within the buildings. Sneaky, Delarco, and Marzu now need to reevaluate where they're pushing because Flax going A was perfect. That was a really good read, and now they get the trip cap. 79 tickets remaining for uMAV. They're in real dire straits here because MYM stepped it up a gear and they've been able to keep it at this level for a lot longer than usual. Now they need to be able to lock this down again because A is going to be going over towards uMAV's favor, but the damage is really being done. Yeah, they need to make sure they transition back into being able to hold B and C like you're talking about, and obviously they're not really there yet. I mean, you see Wafi and Safe, they're kind of over towards the southeast side. You see Ducky Chan's holding from the building. We do have 2 men of MeetYourMakers over towards the top side by the balcony of B, and right now, B's being capped over for uMAV, and they should be able to lock this one down because no one's there to stop him unless these grenades keep raining in and they end up going down. Yeah, indeed. This is a really important factor for uMAV. They need to convert this one quite smoothly, should we say, on B, so they don't lose any more tickets to these exchanges. We are seeing the likes of Flax and Wafi getting quite aggressive here, pushing up, trying to find these players, getting the tag, not the frag over. Flax will be doing a bit of a cleanup duty as Wafi did go down, and B could go MYM's way at this point. It is slowly but surely being converted over, and look at Ducky Chan's position. Straight away being that pest, really splitting the attention of the opponents, getting the respawn of Wafi as well. This is almost game over here. 57 tickets is not a lot when 17 is already taken away from the opponents of uMAV. I like what Ducky Chan did. He neutralized the flag at A, and then he backed away, waiting for a couple of respawns to come in on top of him just to make sure they can secure this one down. In the meantime, you do see the rest of uMAV able to lock down B, able to lock down C, but MeetYourMakers, they have 2 men towards the backside C. They have 3 now, there now. They should be able to pull his 2 cap off. If Flax can hold on to this might be enough for that final push, for that final ticket booth they need to lock down this victory. Yeah, Flax is in a big spot right here. He does get taken down, and we did actually see uMAV winning over that catwalk battle, so B should be going their way. Safe and actually whoever respawned on him going for a dangerous respawn here. But they are winning out. It was Punchroll joining him, so B is now still up for grabs. But I'd definitely say uMAV in a better spot, but they're not making it look like that in the kill so far. Finally, Safe does go down. Big pickup there, taking down, I believe that was Marzu trying to find his way down the east side of the map. And B now going back over towards uMAV, but for how long? With 2 players actually splitting up towards A from MYM. Yeah, they're looking for this control here, and there's only 1 man to defend against it. It's Delarco playing a defensive role on A, funny enough. But he's going to be pushing in right there, looking for these 2 kills. He's going to be able to actually not pick up any, and he will go down. That will give MeetYourMakers that 2 cap back here. Obviously not the most ideal setup, but they will definitely take it at this stage in the game. This does potentially open up B if they can pull this off. Sneaky, the last man,
over towards A, maybe wait for a couple of respawns. He does just book it straight towards B, but gets taken down by Ducky Chan, and that is B going to be going over to MeetYourMakers. It has to, unless Asterix can single-handedly defend against this.
Well, Asterix now does have Delarco, so it's a 2v1, and actually Punchroll fell away too early on. They didn't get the investment into the side that they needed. They lost out on the kind of draw towards C. And now they're kind of, recanting what they need to do. 3v2, it's a 3-man stack towards B, 2 now splitting over towards C. NYM could pick up this C site unless Marzu holds them back here, but this is looking good for the final push. Almost C should be going over towards NYM. Marzu now peers around, but S8F did do a fantastic split through the buildings. Sneaky does a little bit of damage, but goes down eventually as NYM could be finishing this one with a trip cap if they stop that A retake.
They don't have currently anyone there, unfortunately for them, so it will be going back over to uMAV. But 17 tickets, remember that's the magic number, and we see uMAV already at 30 currently. This is getting very dangerous for them. They have to pull something off. They have to do it very soon. And MeetYourMakers, they slipped up again somehow. Why do I keep going to dead people as they... Damn it, stop that! That's the third person I've gone to that just died. But they do need to pull something back here, and we see uMAV going in for B finally.
The magic of free cam. What I'm saying, just free cam that. Anyway, let's get back in the game because B is up for grabs. Obviously, 3 players now pushing in. Delarco gets mauled down, but Wafi eventually does fall. But we are seeing NYM battling this one through. 24 tickets left, not far from 17 now, as NYM making their final stand pretty much to really secure this victory and get themselves into the offline finals here. They are literally moments away. C is now being recapped, however, by Marzu, so they're not down and out just yet. They are still fighting for this one, but B seems like a lost cause, as does A. NYM have gone and done a bit of a switcheroo here. They're winning out on the battles by B as well. This could be it. 17 tickets is the marker for the US side. uMAV, you're going to have to fight another day here because this 2-1 hold will be working in NYM's favor, who are now seconds away from joining the likes of Fnatic, Dignitas, Pyrogen, and ESC in the offline finals. They are the first team to qualify here from Group C. Congratulations, guys. You did it in some style.
They definitely did, but there is... I want to give them congratulations considering how weak they look throughout the rest of the cuts as we progress through, 3 and 4. And one thing that still worries me, though, that we saw with that was just they seem to lose control. And, I mean, obviously they were able to get it back. They came out with like a 70-ticket lead at the end of that, but it's very dangerous if you go up against like the likes of Fnatic or potentially Epsilon if they qualify, or Dignitas, or even, I want to say Pyrogen ESC.
You say that, right? I think we're underestimating uMAV here because they're the team that have beaten Dignitas, Epsilon, Fnatic. They generally lose in the finals, but uMAV are a fantastic side. If NYM's been able to beat them, fair play to them. However they do it, go for it. uMAV cannot be underestimated. I think we kind of, because they may not be associated with teams like Fnatic, Dignitas, by brand name alone, it's very easy to underestimate them. But then you've got to take into account, they've been into pretty much the finals in every single cup. And NYM stepped it up.
I'm not saying they're a bad team, but what worries me is the fact that MeetYourMakers had control for, like, let's say 75% of the game, and then they lose it at that percent for some reason, and then the other team comes back. Like, obviously, uMAV is an amazing team, and if they can claw their way back in, if they see MeetYourMakers make a mistake, they will completely take advantage of it. But I don't know. It's just that's a little bit worrying to me. And obviously, MeetYourMakers are looking a lot stronger than we've seen them in the past, and that's definitely a good sign for them. But I think we can say just across the board, every team has a lot of work to do before we get into these offline finals.
Yes, and I think we can see them already starting to do it. If if NYM are already up on this point,
everyone stepped up their game.
Exactly, and it's still a little while until the offline finals, so there's still room to change things up here and see a lot of teams kind of get a little bit better towards the start of it. And it's pretty much what happens. Once you get yourself secured in there, you can focus on the teams you're coming up against. You know who you're playing, so you're not going to be trying to prepare against a 32-player bracket or team bracket. It's pretty much top 2 teams from every single group. So you'll see everyone that they're playing up against. And it's going to be interesting to see how that one actually really does come into fruition here, because obviously NYM, they lost only a couple of days ago in the Go4 against uMAV on Zavod, which they actually won over, and they stopped that deficit comeback coming out. So already improving, clearly making something work. Maybe uMAV just having a bit of an off day as well. I don't think we can write it out. Every team does have an off day, against all authority. Something went wrong there.
Kind of the worst day to have an off day.
Yeah, the one day you want to be on point. But, it happens, but still, we need to find out who'll be joining, obviously.
Yeah, let me check real quick just to see if we have the result from that. No, we don't. Not
You
yet.
don't. Okay, so we'll be giving you an update when we come back after this very quick break that we will be throwing to in just a moment to find out who will be joining Meet Your Makers in the offline finals from Group C. Obviously, Fnatic, Dignitas, all those others are already sitting there secured, but one more team from Group C can make their way through. And I believe we have the option of obviously uMAV now dropping down, but the winner of the other 2 games will be facing them. So no easy feat for any team going into this. So guys, do not go anywhere. We'll be back in 5.